Hi, I am so excited because I wanted to create this training for so long, and here I am now. I only have maybe 10 minutes, so I'm going to keep it short and I'm going to keep it to the point. Now, what you're looking at here is on my website. It's what we call a media page. It's a page that I've built over the years, so don't get overwhelmed and don't start thinking like, oh my god, I don't have all that, right? Straight away, my disclaimer. This took me years, and you can pretty much build a page like this fast. I'm going to talk today about what you can do today, and then the rest will happen as you are a little bit more proactive, trying to get onto podcasts or contributing to publications, and then reflecting them immediately as soon as something is published, or your podcast episode or some sort of show or interview that you have been on and it's publicly available, so it's not inside a Facebook group somewhere. That's where you can bring it here and put it here. So then when you're pitching for more publicity, that's when you can bring them just straight to this page. Maybe in PR and publicity, there is this terminology, like a term called one page, and it's like a PDF with your picture, topics that you cover, your bio, and maybe a couple of testimonials, or a couple of previous things, and it's literally like a sheet you print out, right? It's something to pitch to media. So this is a virtual representation of that, and let me just go and have a look. It doesn't have to look exactly the same as mine. I just literally went, creative on this. And as I said, this is all has been built over the years, right? Even now you can start contributing to Medium. You can apply to Business to Community. It's a really good, you have to apply, but you can use on content that's not original. So you can write something for your blog and then repost there. Addicted to Success is something you can pitch. You need unique content, but you can do it after you have a few articles published here and there. Elephant Journal, very easy to publish there. Funnel Brains, they charge. I'm not a paid member, but I don't actually actively engage with them anymore because they are pay-to-play publication. And if you're part of a publication like that, to be honest with you, it's kind of, I need to take it off, because when you're trying to apply to other more serious publications as a contributor, they won't care that, for example, I don't pay to be published in Brains. They just kind of look at it and they're like, okay, this is, not really a proper route to becoming a contributor, right? It's like kind of cheating. So I need to take this off. So anyway, so this is something that I've built. I have a little video here. It's like a pitch talking about, what I bring to the show. You do not have to have this at all. I only added it literally recently, and I have this page for 3 years, right? You don't have to have a link like this to email. So over the years, every time I'm on a podcast, especially when the podcast has a lot of episodes or big readership, or someone is kind of a celebrity, like Tony Watley is a celebrity in his niche, right? So his podcast is really sought after. So I always ask them to give me a couple of lines for a testimonial, so I can sprinkle it on the media page, because when a different host comes in, even if they don't know what it is, they see like, okay, this speaker is good speaker, because everybody wants their audience to get value, right? So we want that as well. And as speakers, we have to understand that everybody is looking for good value. So this is the page where we show them that we can bring the value. The next section is a bio or intro, and it's very, very important to talk about this. So I'm going to first, I just updated this page. So this is an old version of my bio and intro, and let me read it out loud. Juliette is an online visibility strategist specializing in marketing and business coaching for life, wellness, and business coaches and experts. I'm already out of breath. And I know this. I wrote this. I've read this so many times. Imagine if a podcast host who usually don't prepare, they just go into your bio and start reading it out on the podcast episode. And the first things that people hear in relation to you is the podcast host stumbling on your bio. So that's a big mistake. There is a difference between, say, for example, something like this, and then maybe if I have, say, I'm going to show you very, very quickly my Influensive article that just came out, right? I'm going to quickly show you. Okay, so that's my article. And I'm just going to go down on the bottom of the article. and they have a little bio that I wrote. So this one is for people to just read with their eyes. It doesn't need to be short, or it doesn't need to be spoken out loud, and that means that this kind of profiles, author profile, can be slightly more flowery in the way you need. Still, try not to confuse people, right? So this, in a way, was created as a author profile, but and I stumbled because as a 1-3 profile in human design, 3 is always learning through mistakes, and so many times I would look at the podcast host and they are struggling, they're choking on my bio. Internationally recognized for her direct, not traditional methods, she helps clients show up online in full authenticity. I'm already stumbling on this. Achieve strong positioning as an authority in their niche and attract clients that are perfectly aligned with their brand by embodying the potential of their human design. This is what to avoid. However, when we're doing this bio, if you noticed, yes, I'm talking about that I am an online visibility marketing strategist, but then I'm flipping this, and all I'm talking about here is that what I do for clients. I am not actually talking about me. This is a big mistake that I see on a lot of about pages, on a lot of intros and bios, when it's just about a person, right? But as a listener, as a viewer, as a reader, the only question we have is what's in it for me. That's what your brain thinks before your politeness kicks in, right? So if you can't deliver on the answering this question, what's in it for me, and it's actually all about you, the reader is bored. And you have to understand this. This question, what's in it for me, is the main question. Every time you write something for your website, every time you write something for any of the pages, except for the blog, where you can be self-absorbed if you want to be, if it's your own personal insights. You don't need to really necessarily think about it, although I would still recommend the title and maybe somewhere, turn back and invite them into the conversation, So here it's really, really important. So this part here as well is almost impossible to read out loud. So what I did is I just rewrote it, thankfully, finally, and I wanted to kind of show you how much more easy this is to read, right? Juliette is an online visibility strategist. She mentors coaches and experts using human design to realign their marketing with their authentic selves. Internationally recognized for her direct, non-traditional methods, she teaches how to show up online confidently, build strong positioning as an authority in your niche, and attract perfectly aligned clients and opportunities. I still need to work on this sentence. It's way too long, right? I just need to kind of break it maybe into 2-3 sentences. And then simplifying the second one. She's been featured in Forbes talking about staying visible in uncertain times. She's an active contributor to Entrepreneur. She is a seasoned podcast host, a passionate speaker, and a writer. She's an expert on Facebook profile marketing, human design, and online visibility. So this paragraph is now better, right? So I still need to work to break this big sentence into smaller sentences. The takeaway in your bio for podcast episodes, for expert topics, expert trainings, make sure it's easy to read out loud so your host can scan it and just introduce you without stumbling on it. That's really, really important. So the next thing to include is your expert topics. Now, here's the approach, and this is something I've learned through Selena Sue's Impacting Millions. There are some general topics that we're talking about, right? So for me, the general topics would be human design, confidence, online visibility. They're really, really general topics. That's your area of expertise, kind of, Facebook marketing. But you also want to create topics that can be ready to go to put as a title of the podcast episode, for example, or a training, right? So this is what I've created here. The secrets of magnetic marketing by design. How to never go wrong choosing your visibility strategies. It's interesting. You're like, okay, yeah, let's find out, right? So there is this kind of curiosity evoked. How to overcome the fear of visibility by design. That's a huge one. Fear of visibility is huge, right? So how to overcome it? How? By design. I'm already giving people an kind of indication what's going to be inside the topic. So I'm not just saying, I'm going to talk about fear of visibility. I'm going to talk about fear of visibility and human design. I sometimes in these topics, maybe I will add human. I have it here. So just so when somebody's looking over, how to turn scrollers into buyers. These are the things that I'm talking about, but finding these really, really catchy titles. And you can use websites for title generators, like title-generator.com is really good. You put a keyword, say if I put fear of visibility, it will give me 700 variations. Surely one will be a good one to put in as my expert topics. Goals for my talks. I loved it. I saw it somewhere. Somebody was asking me, what are the goals for your talk? Because sometimes people ask you to fill the form. And to be honest with you, when you have a media page, it's like copy, paste. So I'm always looking out at what are they looking for from me? How can I give it to them before they even ask, right? So that's another one. Goals for my talk. So I want to take away the confusion and overwhelm and help listeners align their choices and decisions in marketing. And when it comes to choosing their tactics with who they are and what is most natural to them. Now you can see already there is a typo here, so I will need to change that. The point is that just tell them what you're bringing. What is that value that you're bringing? And don't get too shy and saying, well, I don't know, and you think like it's a value, it's like personally you. It's not you. It's your expert topics. It's your area of expertise. What is your area of expertise brings to the table? So if you're talking about eating well, think about what is eating well going to give the audience, right? There's a big mistake, and I see this is actually part of the fear of visibility, when people take everything too personally and they think that it's their personal value that they have to prove here. Not at all. You're already perfect the way you are. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, but you can advocate for the area of your expertise. Another thing I have here is this image that I can just right click and save if I can't find it on my computer or if I'm on some other place. And they can do it too. So some people, I send them to my media page, they get all the information they want. General and contact info. This is something that you can see here. I have my combined email list and social media. You don't have to have this if you don't have a big email list, but just put in your email, your website, the Facebook. So they can they like to use some of these links on their podcast in the show notes. Again, if they want you to fill in some sort of form, you will be able to go and just quickly copy this and, use, for example, I don't use Instagram for business. It's only for my personal, I just kind of like stalk some experts on Instagram, but I don't use it for business. So I don't have it here. So it's up to you what you're going to use, right? And then this is a section that I have built over the years, and it's really impressive. So every time there's something that I have been featured on and they created a graphic with me, I will put here. And yes, of course, I have some real big ones now, I mean big as in not the size, but the, status, right? But when I started, they were very, very small podcasts, some of them, really, really, really tiny things. They were not they were just very kind of unknown things, but still every time there's a graphic, you add it here, and then you can add a link. So every time if you click on all these things, you will get to where, and I have it all opening in separate new tabs, so my page still stays up, right? So they basically get a chance to check me out, but that wasn't enough for me. Again, disclaimer, this is something I built over time. So every time I am featured on a podcast, I am adding this podcast, I'm embedding it, I'm grabbing the embed code, and that's possible on all main platforms that we have. You can always embed the episode, and so I just do the embedding of the episode. So if you see, then there's obviously they are not the all episodes, they're the ones that I actually had bothered even to look up, and do that. And I want to do more now with human design. Some of them are more marketing related. Then again, watch now the same. If I was on a video, because people want to see, it's not enough sometimes to just listen. And, we are visual creatures, so we want to be seen. So that's where I have, and if they click on something, they will see. They will actually, watch my interview here, which is really, really good for me because it's like the energy that I bring and, everything builds up. So this is how the media page is. And the most important thing that where I stumbled was, of course, I need to rewrite these goals. You don't have to put your goals on, but it's good if you have. But bio needs to be the takeaway. It needs to be easy to say out loud. So when you're writing something, always read it out loud. If you're yourself kind of running out of breath by the time the sentence ends, something's wrong. You need to simplify it, because it's not about the flowery language, it's about the flow of the speech. And that is this mini training. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what was the biggest thing for you that stood out, and what's the takeaway for you. And you're so welcome to, create your own page, and let me see what we can, audit and add to it. See you later.